Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters and explore the lore. I'm Amber.
And I'm Lily, and today we'll be dissecting
Talk to Me. Let's let them in. A party is happening as a guy goes through the house, asking if anyone has seen his brother. When he finally finds him, his brother has locked himself in a room. The guy breaks the door down to grab his brother and leave, but his brother takes a knife, stabbing him in the stomach and then himself.
At a 2-year anniversary party for the death of her mom, we meet Mia. Later, she gets a call from her friend's brother, Riley, to come pick him up from a skate park. Mia picks him up, and they begin jamming out to some Sia when they come across a badly injured kangaroo. Instead of putting it out of its misery or calling the vet, they get back in the car and head to Riley and her friend's house.
When they get to the house, Mia tries to tell her friend Jade about the kangaroo, but she is too wrapped up in texting her boyfriend Daniel. The girls see a video about a possession happening at a party and plan to sneak out to go see if it's real.
Mia helps Riley with his homework, and Riley's mom, Sue, gets home and seems to be aggravated with her kids. Jade goes to say goodnight to Sue, to which she tells Jade to lock the door on her way out, already knowing they're sneaking out. The trio arrives at someone's house named Haley, and another guy, Joss, pulls out a strange hand with writing on it. Mia volunteers to go first as she sits in the chair. Joss straps her in. Haley instructs that they can only go for 90 seconds before pulling them out. Otherwise, they'll want to stay. Joss adds that if you die in there, they'll keep you.
I'm not gonna lie, I would leave that party so fast.
I pull out a Ouija board, I'm gone.
Gone immediately. They light a candle while adding that you light the candle to open the door and blow it out to close it. They then instruct Mia to grab the hand and say, "Talk to me." When she does, she sees a creepy dead man in front of her and lets go. To prove that she saw something, Mia grabs the hand again, but this time she sees a dead woman and says, "I let you in." Mia seems to be possessed by the woman. The woman laughs a creepy, hysterical laugh.
Mia then looks at Riley and says that they like him. The door next to Mia flies open, and she says that someone is behind Riley and they'll split him, then telling him to run. Joss and Haley rip the hand from Mia, and she says that it felt amazing, but Riley is clearly freaked out.
I feel so bad for Riley, man. That would be so scary.
That poor boy went through so much. I have things to say, like, was that scene at the end even real?
Honestly. Back at the house, Riley is scared and asks to sleep in his sister's room, but she rejects him. Then he goes to Mia, who is in the living room, where he confesses that the hand scared him. Mia then tells Riley about a reoccurring nightmare where she can't see her reflection and it feels like she doesn't exist.
Riley asks Mia about what it felt like when she grabbed the hand, when she tells him that it felt amazing. Riley then asks Mia how her mom died, and she says that her mom took too many sleeping pills. Her dad was sleeping on the couch, and when he tried to open the bedroom door, her body was blocking the entrance, and there were bloody scratches on the door from her mom trying to get out. Riley tells Mia that she always has him and Jade.
The next day at school, Jade asks Haley if they can bring the hand over because Daniel wants to try, and their mom won't be home. Later at the house, Daniel knocks on the door where Sue opens it and immediately begins questioning everybody about a party. When the mom finally leaves, everybody shows up for the party.
Joss puts the hand in front of Daniel and explains that under the plaster, it came from an actual person who communed with the devil. Haley adds that there is another hand possibly somewhere else in the world. Joss straps Daniel in, and the process begins.
Be prepared for the cringe.
Oh, so cringy.
It's such a cringy scene.
I couldn't.
Oof. Daniel begins to choke, but an entity finally takes over. When he speaks, he says that Jade makes him soft. When he begins to touch himself and falls over, the dog comes over and he begins to make out with him. They pull the hand from him, and the group begins to trade the hand around, taking turns with the hand repeatedly.
That's nasty.
It's so gross.
Why would you want to go after that?
I know, right?
The group seems to be done when Riley asks for a go. His sister says no, so he begs Mia after Jade has left. Mia agrees to 50 seconds, and right as Riley says, "Talk to me," he has a funny look on his face. Letting the person in, it takes a while for Riley to speak, only to reveal at 50 seconds that the ghost who entered Riley was Mia's mom, apologizing for what happened. Mia lets it go past the time to speak with her mom, but doesn't get much time before something else takes a hold of Riley.
He begins to choke again and starts smashing his face against the desk repeatedly, then tries pulling out one of his eyes.
Gruesome.
So gross. As the group tries to stop him and pull the hand away, Riley's chair slides across the floor, smashing into the window, before it turns towards the fireplace, where Riley continues to smash his face against the mantel. Before another smash, Jade comes in and uses her hand to cushion the blow.
Mia stands in shock, covered in Riley's blood. She begins to walk out of the room where Joss and Haley discuss whether they should leave. Mia is seen washing her hands of the blood as the police and ambulance arrive. The police ask for information as Jade calls Sue to tell her what happened.
Back at Mia's house, her father asks what happened, to which Mia asks what her dad isn't saying about her mom. Mia goes back to her room and opens her bag to reveal that she has stolen the hand. Mia then shows up at the hospital asking to see Riley. Both Jade and Sue are pissed and want her to leave.
Before leaving, Mia sees a figure and follows it to the bathroom, where it goes into an empty stall. Mia believes the figure is her mom and tries to open the door when she hears someone calling for help on the other side and banging wildly. When she gets the stall open, it is empty. Mia leaves the bathroom and finds Daniel, who offers her a ride home. Not wanting to be alone, Mia asks Daniel to stay with her for the night.
Total mistake.
Bad idea.
Especially when you're dating her
Best
friend, but you also dated her too.
Right, yeah. Dumb. Men are dumb. Most of the time.
At the hospital, Jade gets into the car with her mom and reaches over to comfort Sue, but she pulls away. At Mia's house, Daniel is asleep with Mia while she watches old videos of her mom. Before she tries to sleep, she gets as close to Daniel as possible. During her sleep, Mia has a dream where she is kissing Daniel, only to look behind him and see her dad on the floor next to her mom's body.
When she wakes, Mia sees something in the corner, which begins to crawl over to Daniel and begins sucking his toes.
It's so fucking weird. It's so fucking weird.
It's so weird. Mia freaks out and tries to wake Daniel up, but he is woken up to see Mia is the one sucking his feet.
This is just a weird moment. This is just too weird.
I mean, if you're into that, no shame, but this in this context, what the fuck?
So out of left field.
Daniel is weirded out and leaves immediately. I would too.
Same.
Mia is confused and begins slapping herself.
Yep, that's how you solve that.
Yeah. In her state of confusion, Mia pulls the hand out and tries to contact her mother.
You know? Because after you suck on a boy's toes, that's what you do.
Okay, but it gets worse.
I know it does. Okay. All right. Okay. Mia's mother appears and she asks if her mom really did kill herself. Her mom says that she would never leave Mia on purpose and tells her that Riley needs help. They both lay on Mia's bed and cuddle for the rest of the night. That's also fucking weird because in reality, you know for a fact that that's just the hand she's cuddling with.
Right. Ooh.
Ooh. It just is so unsettling.
Anyway. Sorry. I've never...
It's so weird.
Back to serious part.
Yes.
Back at the hospital, both Jade and Sue try to give Riley a bath. When Sue steps out for a minute, Jade tries to talk to Riley. But when he comes to, he bites her, falls to the ground, and begins smashing his head against the wall repeatedly, clearly still possessed. There is blood all over the ground, and Riley licks it up before he begins to start seizing.
The group from the party meets up to talk about what they should do next. When Mia asks if anyone is still seeing things without the hand, Daniel then reveals the incident that occurred the night he stayed at Mia's. The group decides to try and contact the brother from the beginning to see if he might know what to do.
They find him at a bus stop where he's leaving town, but Mia and the others get on the bus with him. Mia tries to commiserate, to which the brother reveals that the longer the spirit is inside a person, the weaker they become. Upset, Jade storms off the bus, angry that the spirits are killing her brother, but also blaming Mia for allowing the time to go for 2 minutes.
You know, honestly, Mia had no right to give that, as she's not the sibling.
Well, they were just telling her that that's her family too. So, I mean...
I know, but there's a level of danger that they were messing around with.
Yeah, it's true.
Especially if not, but like the previous day, a spirit was like, I'm going to split your head.
Yeah, that.
And then, telling the kid to run.
And then split him, literally.
So, you know.
Yeah, they'll split ya.
Yeah. Someone mentions that they don't believe that the candle was blown out and want to try another seance to undo the mistake. Haley and Joss leave, while the others head to the hospital with the hand and attempt to close the connection. Mia tries multiple times to blow out the candle, but it clearly does not work.
Mia decides she should connect to the hand in the hospital room to see if she can find Riley, but instead connects to a little girl. The girl says she can take Mia to him and says, "I let you in," to reveal Riley being tortured by many spirits.
Spoiler warning, skip ahead. Mia goes home to find her dad on the couch, who finally wants to talk about her mom's death. He reads her what seems to be a suicide note from her mom, saying that she's sorry and hoping Mia finds peace. Mia is in disbelief and tells her dad that her mom said she would never kill herself because she told her. Mia sees her mom's spirit in the corner, who says it's not true.
Mia leaves to go to her room, where she finds her mom waiting, saying that her dad was not actually her dad, as she hears her father at the door, who begins to bang and shout to be let in. At the same time, we see her dad still sitting on the couch in the living room. Mia's mom convinces her that Riley needs to be put out of his misery.
A monstrous version of Mia's dad busts through the door, attacking and choking her. Mia's real dad tries to open the door, and when he finally comes in, Mia reaches for a pair of scissors and stabs him instead. Mia calls Jade and tells her to meet at her house to show her something.
When Jade leaves, it is revealed that Mia was in the parking lot of the hospital during the call. Mia goes to Riley's room when Sue walks in and apologizes for blaming Mia. Mia asks for a moment alone with Riley as Jade arrives at Mia's house. Jade tried to call Mia, but got no response.
Again, in the hospital room, the ghost that is possessing Riley reveals itself where Riley should be. Mia takes the scissors and tells the entity that she's going to end it, but stops when she sees Riley's face again. The spirit asks Mia to touch it because it wants to feel, as she turns around to see the kangaroo from the beginning hopping away down the hall.
Jade goes inside Mia's house and discovers Mia's father still alive, but bleeding out. Jade calls her mom and tells her that Mia is dangerous and to keep her away from Riley. When Sue gets back to Riley's room, she discovers that they are both gone. Jade gets back to the hospital and sees Mia pushing Riley up a hill towards traffic.
Mia stops right at the edge of the road as Mia's mother appears behind her, saying how proud she is and how great it is that they'll have Riley forever. However, Mia ends up throwing herself into the traffic instead. Mia wakes to find Jade holding Riley by the road. Mia then ends up walking the halls of the hospital to see that Riley is fine and is ready to leave. She sees her father walking away and turn towards a mirror where she has no reflection.
The scene goes dark, and Mia walks towards a candlelight with a hand outstretched. Mia grabs the hand and enters a room where she is holding a man's hand, where many people surround him, speaking a different language. The guy says, "I let you in." And
the end. Alrighty. So, this movie came out July 28th, 2023. The directors are Danny and Michael Philippou.
I think so.
They're brothers, if that wasn't obvious.
Are they twins? Because it says they're both like the same age.
I never found anything that says that they were twins, but they are definitely siblings.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah, for sure. They're brothers.
This was distributed by A24, fabulous brand. Love their movies, and Umbrella Entertainment.
So the budget for this film was $4.5 million.
Hell yeah.
And they made $44 million in the box office.
Not surprised.
Yeah. At least so far, right? Yeah, because can you still watch it?
Yes, I believe so. No. That one might be slowly trickling out.
I think so.
Of theaters.
Anyway, it got a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's considered one of the best horror films of the year. Best films of the year.
The reviews that I've seen have been it's the best horror film of the decade.
Which is crazy.
Which is wild.
Personally, I have some questions about that.
Yeah.
I have some disagreements about that. But, I am one person.
Yeah, yeah. And then we have our lovely cast.
We've got Sophie Wilde as Mia, Alexandra Jensen as Jade,
Otis Dionji,
we'll never know,
as Daniel,
Miranda Otto as Sue, Joe Bird as Riley, Zoe Tarakis, Haley, Chris Alosio as Joss. Anyway, yeah, I got lots and lots of notes on this one.
Yeah, same.
But it's mostly about the bros and things.
I have a little bit more about the film itself.
You go first.
Alrighty. So, obviously, there's going to be a lot of hand imagery in this film.
Really?
If that wasn't obvious.
Is there?
And that, I guess, the root theme of this film is severed connections and loneliness.
Fair enough.
For this film. Because Mia wants to speak to her mother so badly. And Jade has difficulties relating to Mia because of her relationship with Daniel. So there's that level.
True.
And Riley wants to be part of the big kids, but feels like an outsider. So it's definitely everybody's trying to connect, but
they're kind of failing.
All failing desperately in very different ways.
I mean, if they just, put the hand down and put their phones away, maybe they'd actually be able to make a human connection.
Yeah.
Instead of being in this mess.
And then, because the only person who never interacts with the hand at all is Jade.
Right.
But because of all of the other characters' feelings of isolation essentially for themselves are driven to commune with the hand.
Yeah.
And despite the obvious danger that it has, they don't. It's fascinating because it's the idea that they don't want the thrill of it. What they want is the attention and the affection from it.
How does it give them affection?
They want community because it brings large groups of individuals together.
Okay.
And it connects everyone. Yeah. And it's relatable even for normal people. Some people will do stupid shit just because there's enough people around them that are all excited about the same thing, and they want to feel like they're included, and they want to feel like they're part of something, and they want to feel like they have a fun, interesting thing that them and a bunch of other people all did. And so that if they're ever in a social situation, they can be like, oh well, haha, you remember the hand,
right?
All that kind of stuff.
That makes sense. You could definitely see that in the one scene where they're all together right before Riley smashes his face. They're all just having a good time.
Because it's only a couple of them doing it, but they all seem very excited to do it all together. And it's even they're literally making parties. They're making large parties, the initial scene when they're first interacting with the hand. It's a massive group of people who are all there just to watch someone deal with the hand.
Yeah.
And it's yes, we got the scene of Mia and it ending, but we don't know how long that went on afterwards.
Right.
We just saw that the next day sort of situation. That night when they came home. So it's it's definitely interesting that something so terrifying, and I mean, that's a common thing. Spooky shit that draws people together.
HHN.
That's like a common trope, even in any kind of video game.
No,
you
yeah.
know, trauma bonding.
Oh, for sure.
Is a big one. Is definitely very valid in this one. Is trauma bonding.
Oh yeah.
Oh, a film that is like very familiar to this one is Flatliners, which is on our list of films to watch. But it's a Joel Schumacher cult film about a group of like med students who die momentarily.
Oh.
Like who intentionally flatline themselves for
You
a
know,
moment to
I
contact the dead.
Yes,
You've
I do
seen
know
the
what this-
trailer
yeah,
for
I have
it
seen
when
the
it
trailer.
came out,
Yeah.
but I never had seen it at the time, but it's definitely on the list because I thought it was fascinating. And I guess that film relied a lot on special effects, whereas the brothers, they adapted a more unorthodox approach. They achieved most of their supernatural like imagery throughout the film with a combination of editing and in-camera tricks. Apart from a handful of obviously, you know, computer alterated shots, most if not everything here has a physical feel to it, which is pretty fascinating and kind of cool.
Yeah.
The camera, especially the way that they do the camera work in the movie itself, it lingers on the faces of the characters. And that's a bold choice. A lot of the success of the film has a lot to do with the actors that sell the horror and the fear.
True.
That requires some very difficult work from Bird in particular, because Jesus, he went through a lot in that film. God. And also from Wild. So Mia, I would say that our main characters, obviously at this point,
Riley
is
Mia.
Mia, but Riley is a super main character. And literally the film would not feel as emotional if any of their acting choices faltered.
True.
And it's definitely so Bird approached his role with total abandon, apparently. They referred to as making Riley both lovable and repulsive.
Yeah.
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 I think they captured
It's
that.
it's like he's a kid, but he's also like, fuck you, kid, kind of mentality. It's like, you know,
Right.
go away. Why are you here? But also, yeah, you're fine, you know?
Yeah, like at the beginning when he's scared, he wants to be with his sister. Like, that's cute.
Yeah.
But then when he's like, all you want to do is like suck your boyfriend off. Dude,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Leave your sister alone.
Especially when he knows that,
Right.
aside from the fact that Mia had dated Daniel, the addition that
To the
Daniel has never
yeah.
slept with anybody.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help
That the spirit.
he doesn't say that
God.
shit until after what happens to Daniel.
Right. Yeah.
God, that scene is so uncomfortable.
Daniel making out with a dog and touching himself, and then the spirit coming through being like,
He rubbed himself on the carpet.
yeah. Yup.
Oh,
For why?
he
I
was
just don't understand.
making hot eyes at Mia.
Yes, and Mia laughed at it. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Oof, the level of discomfort.
Yeah, huge, big,
So so discomfort.
But yeah, so acting really good. Apparently, they went gaga over Sophie Wilde.
Yes, they did.
The director said that she had like the best audition ever. They say that they're gonna put her in anything they ever do, like even if she's like a small background role, like they said.
Yo.
Even if she's a weather reporter, she'll be in every film, every single one.
Honestly, good for her. Shit,
Yeah.
she knows she's gonna have consistent work from them.
Yep. And then they were like, whoever our next lead is, they've got some big boots to fill. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I guess, yeah, they were just talking about how committed she was to it. Like, she didn't sleep sometimes, and she was very like on the job, like on
and
it.
apparently this is her second movie.
Yeah, but this was like her.
This was the
thing.
breakout. This
I
was like
feel
the
like
truly.
I've seen her before.
Yeah,
though.
I feel like I recognize her from something else.
Yeah.
But this is definitely the one that's gonna be the memorable, because we're in the horror genre.
Yep.
We're gonna see her face probably a lot more.
Yeah. My girlfriend is very big into theater and things, and she, like, her whole family, but basically I don't remember if it was her or if it was one of her family members, but they think that the horror genre is where actors go to die.
What?
Like, their careers go to die.
I'm sorry. Jamie Lee Curtis, Sigourney Weaver. I'm sorry. You're gonna sit here and tell me that
Well, those
they're-
are big name people, but I'm
who are in the horror genre.
Yeah,
Literally,
but I mean,
Jamie
like,
Lee Curtis just did her
they're
continuation
saying
of the
if you
horror
like
series.
go and you have a good like you like made a little career for yourself, and then you do horror, and that's pretty much where you end. Like, that's where you're done.
I don't believe that.
I don't know.
I don't believe that because of how prolific horror is.
Well, it could happen to a lot of actors and actresses. You just don't really hear or see about it. But, you know, the industry is rough. You never know.
I mean, in my opinion, the people who get screwed the most are people who do fantasy.
That's probably true.
Because, like, people get typecast. I mean, shit, the Harry Potter cast.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We literally already... So, you've already heard it. But literally, Rupert was Ron again in a different
No, he
TV
was.
series.
He literally was Ron
So-
again.
So, yeah, typecast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But beside the point, I hope we get to keep seeing
Yeah,
all the characters. I thought they were all really good actors.
they're all very good. They're all very good.
What was interesting to me was all of the like hidden things within the movie.
Yeah.
Apparently, the beginning scene, like at the party,
Yeah.
where
Yes.
the brothers,
Yes.
yeah,
I read about this. Yes.
Yep. So I guess at least Michael,
Yeah.
the director, is in that scene.
Oh, cool.
And so is all of the other main characters. Like all the actors and actresses,
That's
they're
wild.
also like hidden in there. They're just dressed up differently. But if you go in and look for them, apparently they're supposed to be there.
Oh,
so-
that's what you got?
Yeah, what'd you get?
There were like hidden story details
Oh, I believe that as well.
throughout that part.
I'm
scene.
sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, that initial party scene has a lot of stuff hidden in the background. And it's like even their sound design and who speaks and what they say is like important.
I'm sure.
Which is wild. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
During the hell scene, you know, the quick glimpse when you see
Yes.
Riley getting tortured
Mm-hmm.
by the spirits. So apparently if you like slow it down,
Yeah.
there's like some pretty intense graphic creepy stuff. Like if you just go for it frame by frame.
Well, now
That they said it was like, no, I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna do pause,
No,
pause,
I'm gonna have to
pause,
do that.
pause. Yeah. But they said it was really heavy and it went for a while, and it was like we needed to cut this down and give it a small glimpse. So yeah, if you slow it down, apparently it's like
more intense.
way more intense.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
actually kind of cool, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Also, the hand.
Yes.
Apparently, all like the writing on it, there's lots of codes and hidden messages within it.
That's
and
cool.
So the directors like haven't come out with what it means. They like want us
People to figure it out, yeah.
and then
They
come
want
out
to
with it.
ARG it real hard.
Yeah.
Oh, augmented reality. It's an augmented reality game. ARG. Essentially, it's like people, if you know what they are, you know what they are. But most of the time, it's essentially like someone online or someone in a video game or someone in a movie makes something that you can, if you call this number, you go to this website or whatever, it will lead you to another clue that will lead you somewhere in the real world that will lead you to clues to finding a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
very much, that's what it kind of feels like a little bit there.
Yeah. And for the hand itself, apparently they didn't have the final version of it until like the day they started filming.
Oh no.
Yeah. But
It's a cool piece.
it is. And it wasn't even in the film until the second draft of it.
What?
Yeah, that's what it says. The hand didn't factor into the film's actual story until its second draft.
That's wild.
So then once they finally made it centered around the hand, they wanted it to, it says, they wanted it to have a real sense of history and to make clear that this thing has been passed around between hundreds of people and been all over the world. Which,
it does feel
I
like
don't know
that
about
a little
hundreds,
bit.
because I mean, the writing, it seems like that could have been done at one
Well, you
party.
also don't pay much attention to the
No,
writing
you
of
don't,
it.
You don't. But, although I do want to like take pictures of it.
Like
and, go through
look
it.
up close shots of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's a fascinating piece, and the idea that there's like a hint at there's being one of them out somewhere else in the world. So it's like
Yeah.
the final scene You know, not getting too into spoilers, but like, is that the other hand?
It might be. I want to see origin story so bad.
They actually already have, they were literally saying that, let's see, the brothers say that they've got enough lore to power 20 more films in the universe.
20?
And that they already have the perfect sequel title ready. Talk the number 2 me. Because I guess the
so
filmmakers,
they coming out with Talk to Me and then Talk to Me.
yeah, and the filmmakers wrote a thorough Talk to Me Bible.
Oh my god.
Detailing the mythology, providence, and powers of the mysterious hand. Motif particularly inspired by Daniel's own experience after a car accident when he was 16.
I have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They thought he might have broken his spine. He
Yep.
was in the hospital and he couldn't stop shaking.
Mm-hmm.
He said basically the doctors didn't know why he was so cold. Then their sister sat next to him and held his hand, and the shaking stopped.
I love that. And he said it was because someone he loved was with him.
Yeah, and the thought about the touch of someone
he
loved brought him out of the state of shock,
mm-hmm.
and that the moment struck with him, and
The
the
fact
power
that-
of human touch.
The fact that no one realized that he was just in shock and just needed love.
And it wasn't like he wasn't having seizures, it was just he was in shock. And
Yeah.
like, you know, the idea of the power of human touch and connection and how scary that is for some that don't have that or is losing that. So
Yep.
that's definitely like a key thing about like the mom and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's that influence.
Yeah.
There's also this other influence that they had.
Yeah.
So basically, it doesn't say which brother. I mean, does it? I don't know, but one of the brothers apparently watched his neighbor experience drugs for the first time.
Both of them. So that's
It was
I
both
have
of
that.
them?
Yes.
Yeah, and then so basically they said that they saw the neighbor have a really bad trip and none of the friends around him were like helping him out. They just pulled out their
Yeah.
cameras and started filming it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "What? Those are not your friends.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not your friend." No. If you're having a bad trip to something,
Yeah.
they should be comforting you and like making you feel better and just telling you like, "Go to sleep. You're fine.
Yeah.
You'll wake up and you'll be okay. Here's some blankets. Here's our presents. Here's
Yeah.
our comfort. We are here for you." No, pulls out their phones.
Yeah.
That's today's generation. So hard,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
but whatever.
But yeah, the film itself doesn't rely, like I said, on special effects really heavily. Not even gratuitous violence and high body counts. It's like, yeah, it gets really dark at that one part, but it tells a story. It depends on the performance of its actors and how reliable they can be.
Right.
To draw on the audience, because even despite like the crazy premise of this like super natural hand thing, it feels grounded in reality. Like it feels like even with the spooky shit, there's a level of reality, and I really like films that kind of have that element to it.
Right.
Especially because it kind of makes me think about The Black Phone a little bit, because it's very grounded in reality, even though it's got the spiritual stuff in it. Yeah. They basically prove that ingenuity and creativity in cinema do not require massive budgets or special effects to thrill, horrify, and even entertain. And it's fascinating because this film technically came out October 30th of 2022.
What?
Because they had debuted it at a preview screening at the Adelaide Film Festival.
Yes.
Only to make its world premiere as part of the midnight lineup at the 2023 Sundance Film Festival.
Yeah.
And then, the fact that it made screenings at the Berlin International Film Festival as well as South by Southwest that same year. So it's been seen by many other things before it officially came out as like a film, and a number of critics couldn't help but mention the impressiveness of Talk to Me's minimal use of special effects, chilling sound design, and delivering well on the promise made. Basically, the reason why A24 is the company that they kind of like went with as their favorite, because it's their favorite film distributor.
Makes sense.
Because they make room for originality and naturalism.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't always easy to find in typical Hollywood blockbuster films and stuff like that,
Right.
which is why A24's genre continues to be promising, which is facts. A24, Blumhouse, like I said, those ones are usually our top tier.
Yeah.
They're really good at not just like making you scared, but also they make you feel things. They make you feel emotional. They make you
Yeah.
feel like there's like a possibility.
Deeper feelings and
Yeah.
ideas. And...
Deeper thoughts. It makes you really have to think
Mm-hmm.
harder about like, why is this happening? What does this mean? You know, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. I think the only A24 film that I've ever been like, I didn't quite really get that was Midsommar.
Oh,
I didn't
it's on our list of films.
quite. At least I'm pretty sure that's an A24 film. I'm like 90% sure. 99. I don't know. But that's the only one I've been like, I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
if I watched it again, I'd probably get a better understanding for it.
Yeah.
If I did a little bit of research,
A deeper thinking.
a deeper thinking. Yeah. But usually they're pretty good about letting the
Yeah.
story take you on that journey.
Yeah. They actually started on YouTube.
On YouTube!
Which is so fun.
I know. That's what I was going to talk about next.
Yeah.
Basically, they just, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. Who has money to just throw around like that? So, they said the first time they wanted, they felt like they wanted to switch from YouTube to actual film was after they filmed something that took about 8 months
Yeah.
to finish, and they put $130,000 into it, not sponsored, and it was demonetized.
Oof. That is never helpful. 'Cause YouTube.
So
That's wild.
I think they even like had to take it down, I think, because they're saying that it wasn't even that, it was more the reach, like, sure, demonetize us but let our fans see it. So I
Exactly,
think they
yeah.
probably had to take the video down. But damn, the fact that you have $130,000 to just throw at a movie,
Just chuck at something. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
yeah, they said they made $87 off of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's big
Just
difference from what
87
this
even.
film actually got
Right.
them in revenue.
Yeah.
And I guess part of that is in regards to it. Daniel was scared of being vulnerable on their YouTube channel.
Aw.
Basically them talking to the experience and not expressing things that I was going through emotionally, or touching on things like mental illness or us losing their grandfather at the age of 13, or suicide being in their family.
Wow. Yeah.
They couldn't they didn't feel like they could express it artfully. But they did pretty well in
Here it is
Talk
again.
to Me.
Those people's, like, these directors with very dark past using film as an outlet.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, they did really well. I mean, shit, that first party scene was a one take cold open set piece.
Wow.
Yeah. So the filmmakers enlisted cinematographer Aaron McLiskey after watching his work in the single take short film Nursery Rhymes, and established rules that their opener would follow. The camera wouldn't move on its own, but track characters throughout the hectic scene. Subtle details foreshadowing the story to come would be hidden throughout the shot. And as in real life, you'd only hear selective dialogue in passing as a thumping party track looped underneath, punctuated by an increasingly uneasy sonic landscape by the sound design Emma Bordegon. So they definitely snuck like story elements, but they made it feel more real with all of that. And a big story that inspired it, obviously, like you said, was them watching their neighbor as they grew up. Michael was remembering it. It was Michael who was talking about it. And basically, yeah, when he was experiencing negative reactions and they were bringing out instead of helping him when he was convulsing on the floor,
Oh my gosh.
they just filmed him and laughed.
That's
And
even worse than what I thought.
And it's a weird part of the culture. It's okay.
No,
So
that's
not to
messed up.
But it's true, because guess what? I have something that's relatable to this
What
that
do you mean?
happened.
To you?
Not to me, but
Okay.
like something that happened on my campus.
Oh.
So a kid brought his gun with him to school
Oh, no.
because he was doing gun practicing. I don't know if he's part of like a police thing or whatever, but he was doing gun practices and brought it with him to school because he was rushing to get to class. And he had it in his holster, and I guess it like moved or it pressed in a certain way,
Oh.
and it shot his leg. And 2 people, instead of helping him, recorded him while he's bleeding.
Okay.
And
well,
then finally
that's-
someone called.
That's a strange and unusual incident.
So he accidentally shot himself. But it's a similar concept.
It's
Instead of
also
just
just
calling
like-
and help, they just sat and recorded him. They were
That's
recording
stupid.
him
Why
bleeding.
do that? Like, we are so attached to these things in our hands that we're never aware of the world around us. And when it finally something is happening,
Exactly.
you can't think. You just like
Honestly, and they talk about that. It's a way to disassociate yourself.
yeah.
For kids now, there's something horrible
That's how they deal
happening.
with trauma.
You pull out your phone because when you watch stuff through the phone, you
There's a
can watch
barrier.
safely.
Yeah.
It might be subconscious, but you pull out your phone and record because you're not really there.
Okay.
Quote, quote, not really there.
Fair
Because
enough.
it's the equivalent of like, instead of seeing it with your eyes, you're seeing it through something else. So it feels like you're not physically there.
Yeah.
And it's a really fascinating concept, which is actually really honest. It's a weird thing, but yeah.
It's still fucked up. Like, if your friend is really going through it, convulsing on the floor,
Yeah.
use your phone to dial 911 instead of clicking the record button.
Yeah. And
It's
I mean,
like you can like look away and call and say, "Hey,
yeah.
shit's going down."
yeah. And I mean, even it's the whole, it kind of leads into the idea of the film itself as being, it's the idea of like a bunch of kids getting high on supernatural possessions.
That they
And
really were.
They really were. And they're getting high on this homemade bong, essentially, not really understanding that different bodies react differently and people can have bad trips.
yeah.
And that if you're in a negative headspace, you can have a negative experience. It's teenagers reacting to things that are happening and then crave a turn after seeing other kids do it on social media. And people are like, I watched that video. That's horrible. How do I do it? It's a common thing. It's people doing, it's why when we were talking about Grimcuddy, it's why the Momo challenge happened. It's why shit like that happens. That's a horrible thing. I'm now gonna do it. It's why, even though it wasn't a violent thing, the Grimace Shake, why that
sorry.
became this weird cult
I have
horror film, which is confusing as shit.
things
And I
like
don't really
that.
get it.
I just don't have an interest. I just
Yeah.
can't be bothered.
It wasn't dangerous.
No,
But it
just
was
people
just
were making it seem like
strange.
it was like there were so many videos that came
There's
across my
so
TikTok
many,
and
so
For
many.
You page that it was like, oh my god, they had a Grimace Shake and then they were like on the slide falling down like they were dead at night.
Exactly.
In a park.
And
like,
it's
what?
it's definitely that kind of situation where it's like,
I mean, I didn't drink the Grimace Shake.
man, I wanted to try it because it was like a berry mix. It wasn't like it wasn't some
Obviously-
horrific thing. It was, but you
Yeah,
could only get it if you
obviously
got it
not.
with a meal, which
Oh.
sucked. You couldn't just get it by itself.
Why?
I don't know. It's dumb.
Because it was Grimace's birthday?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wish you could have just
Well-
gotten it by itself because then I would have tried it because, you know,
That's like coming to the party and just having cake. Many people do that.
yeah, it's so weird. And so here's a strange thing
Mm-hmm.
that they did
Okay.
is that they did a weird trust exercise. They all, for the cast, directors, and producers, went through a trust exercise where they all watched each other play out a possession
Oh.
so that there wasn't any embarrassment when it came to filming. That preparation came in handy when they had just 2 hours to shoot the entire sequence of them doing the trading. Because it's, you have to think, every person has to feel comfortable to pretend to be possessed in front of each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're doing weird ass shit.
You're doing weird things
They're
like
doing
touching
weird
yourself
things.
and kissing the dog and rubbing yourself against the floor
And also randomly bursting into French and rocking back and forth.
yes.
And, you
her,
know,
her singing was so cute. What she was like singing in French, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
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 I
But
was
it's like,
"Aw."
you all have to be able to
Yeah.
fold into that without breaking
Yeah.
and not feeling uncomfortable about it either.
Very true. I feel like those exercises would be so fun though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to get
They-
weird.
They literally they were blasting music on a boombox to hype up the mood, and they brought each cast member out to a WWE entrance song, including John Cena's, and
Right.
spent the next
Yep.
few hours shooting out directions and improvising while filming
That just
on
sounds
two cameras.
amazing. That sounds so
It sounds like
fun.
it's a really fun experience to go through.
So I bet when they were like, oh, it felt amazing, they weren't lying. They just pulled from real experience.
It just felt like it. And honestly, I really love the way that they did that. They made all the actors feel comfortable doing the scene and made it so that even the producers and the directors felt comfortable
watching it
watching it
there.
happen.
Yeah.
Along with
And understanding what it was like to be in that
exactly
sort of position.
but then also making it fun by like having them, you know, come out and there's boombox music and there's like this, it's just fun environment that makes it more enjoyable to then do,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's always nice when you know that there are people out there who put that much effort into all of that.
Yeah. That's what makes a movie. It really does.
It really does. It really does. Oh,
Didn't you say you had something about the dog?
yes, I do.
Okay.
I was just about to say it.
I've been
Okay.
waiting for this. I must know.
Okay. So, although they prefer to use practical in-camera effects throughout the film, aided by makeup and prosthetics,
Yeah.
they did rely on one unexpected bit of movie magic. A blend of CGI and
Oh?
a hand-operated puppet
Oh.
to achieve a moment in which Otis, under the influence of a spirit, makes out with Jade's dog.
No.
He did not actually kiss the dog because that made them feel like they were like, Danny was like, that seems illegal. Yeah. So thankfully that
Oh,
didn't
gosh.
actually happen.
Okay, good. Because I was going to
It
be
didn't
like,
happen.
Where is the legal ending of this movie?
Because
Like,
they didn't feel like it was legal.
Yeah. It's,
They were
I
like, we're
don't-
just going to CGI this because
like,
this is gross.
I don't think it's illegal.
but it's still
But
gross.
it feels wrong.
It feels like bestiality on a level that's not,
Yeah.
I'm not cool with.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Anyway.
it's like the toe sucking.
Ew. Ew.
It's just so
It's
cringy.
okay. If
And the
you're-
fact that she was having an out of body experience, when in reality she was having an out of body experience, and
Yeah.
she's standing on the floor, being like, she's sucking his toes
When
and
it's
trying
literally
to wake
herself.
him, and it's just her. I'm like, oh, that's so gross.
That's the context that gets me. It's
That's
like
so
that's what
gross.
makes it so weird.
But it does lead to a fascinating concept in regards to the hand. That spirit was possessing her body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She
Oh, because she
Was
was
a
having an
spirit.
out of body experiment experience. Yeah.
but that means her body, she was sitting in the corner.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Ew. And she
Yeah.
crawled over to him like that.
Yes.
I'm getting chills.
Like, you have to think that she went to sleep
No.
touching Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
then woke up from her nightmare
Mm-hmm.
only to see the thing over in the corner, then crawl over,
Even though it was her.
even though it was her the whole time. So how long was she actually in that corner?
Ew. If Daniel woke up before that, I'd be terrified.
What would he have seen?
I'm getting chills.
What would he have seen? Just her crouched in the corner, just staring at him?
Ew.
Oh my God. That, I didn't like fully think about that, but I'm like, how long was she in that corner? Like, at what point?
What about her mom? Do you think she's her mom when her mom is there?
I don't know.
Cause like,
No, because she doesn't say I let you in, but
oh, true. She just said, yeah, she's just talking.
she's
to
just
her.
talking to her.
But did she let the other one in?
No, but I think that that at that point she's beyond saving.
That's crazy.
Because in a comment that they said, it's like, just for a little bit of context, the brother that was dealing with the possessed stuff at the very beginning of the film, the one that killed himself, was named Duckett. So Cole was
no
the brother that
disrespect to the
survived.
dead, but damn.
The brother who survived was Cole, and Duckett was the one that was, killed himself and stabbed his brother. But like him, Mia starts feeling the effects of too many conjuring sessions with the hand,
Yeah.
spurring to keep reaching into the void for answers that will ease her grief. The hand becomes her vice, and with it comes the specter that appears in the form of her mother.
Yup.
But the ghouls, the monsters, have reasons to reach out back. And the filmmakers actually mapped out each spirit's history and their true motives behind why they were reaching out.
Wow.
And then I guess each of the different kids their auras and state of minds is attracting certain spirits to them. Michael was speaking on the predators that have their hooks in Mia. She's been using these things and she's falling victim to them, doing what she thinks is right. Sometimes those negative thoughts can get into your head. You have to really be careful about who you're letting in emotionally in that time. So basically, she was in such a distraught state still because of her mother, even though, like, yes, you are allowed to still feel grief and desperation after your mother's death after 2 years. But then introducing that possession ghost element to it, and there being a chance you might be able to reach out to your mom, is a dangerous tool. And the fact that it worked and that her mother did reach out definitely didn't help, because they also said that Mia's fractured psyche reached a breaking point in her bedroom. This is what you were asking about, where the demon appears as her mother Rhea, preying on her vulnerable state of mind. Elsewhere in the house, they see the father waiting so that they can finally face the truth of the mother's death. They basically say it's what they call their all is lost moment. They wanted to try and capture the idea that things aren't always as bad as you think they are when you're sitting alone in your head. You can get out of that room. So it's that
very true.
It's the depression and like that desperation. Like, yes, if you sit with yourself for too long, it can get really dangerous, but you also have to know that you can step outside.
True.
You know?
You can.
And if you let yourself sit, it's not good.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot of people deal with mental health issues, and stepping out of that room, sometimes it's hard to remember that you can just do that, because sometimes it feels like the door is locked. But it's just finding a way to... When in reality, you have the key around your neck. Yeah. You just have to be willing to take it off and put it in the hole. That's what she said. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not... Yeah, no.
It's staying in. It's staying in. You said it. It's staying in.
Okay, well, I take mental health really seriously, obviously, but it was too good. It was too good. But, yeah, I did a little bit of research about exorcism and possession and objects and things, and...
that stuff is everywhere.
It's everywhere, and I'm sure I'll talk more about it in a future film, because there's so many.
I mean, shit, you're gonna get into it in fucking Annabelle.
That's what I'm saying.
When we get into our Conjuring, that's gonna be their whole fucking. They have an entire room of oddities of objects.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm probably gonna do it more then. But it's so only people can be possessed by things, and at least. So it goes. But it says inanimate objects can be negatively controlled through curses. So a curse is a demon sent to do harm, but cursed objects are objects that have had the opposite of a blessing done to them. Instead of grace being attached to an object to make it holy, a demon has been attached to make it associated with evil. So hauntings, possessions, exorcism. So I found it very interesting that they were using the object to like be possessed. Like,
yes,
it was a interesting little cross between.
They were using a darkly blessed object to intentionally become possessed. For a short period of time.
And because they gave the hand permission to do things, that's when it fucks some shit up, because it says through the permission of the one who has rights over an object, a demon attaches itself to the object and inflicts harm through it. Yeah. Which makes sense. There's also infestations where demons attach themselves to like places, like specific locations.
Oh, yeah. Like a house or something.
Like a house, or even like, who knows? It could be an entire village. You never know.
You know what? There are haunted villages.
There are haunted,
real.
Like,
there are people who have abandoned entire villages because of them being haunted.
What was interesting about this that I found that connected to it, where it's like, obviously spirit possession, it's in many cultures. Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Wicca,
the list goes on.
Native American, all types of voodoo, or not all, but like some types of voodoo. It's just there's
it's
so
everywhere
many,
it's prolific,
depending on where you find it. Possession could be voluntary or involuntary, and may be considered to have beneficial or detrimental effects. So
when is it beneficial?
well, you see there where they're like, oh, well, I was possessed and it felt amazing.
True.
It's just if you take it too far and you go down that route, that's when shit starts to hit the fan.
Here's the question. Yes, they're like, it was amazing, but is that just the creature tricking the human into thinking everything's fine?
Yeah, which is why it's like it depends on the culture, and that you'd have to probably go into each one and figure out why something like that would be beneficial to someone.
Yeah.
Other than in that kind of circumstance where it's like the demon or whatever is possessing you, like spirit, ghost, god, demon, whatever.
Yeah, because it makes me think about the scene back with Riley.
Yeah.
It started off like they, throughout the whole film, not once did you see someone twice possessed in the same time frame. He's first stepped in by the mom, and then just something else
takes over. And I think that's
and then
because
immediately starts doing things that has never happened before at any of the seances.
Because he's so young, and like all of them are so much older than him, and like he's like the baby, and I think whatever the spirit was could like read into Mia's mind and see her connection with Riley. And that's why it immediately like attached itself. And like I think they can communicate with, obviously they can communicate with the other spirits that are within that realm. So I think the second that they read those thoughts and they saw how vulnerable he might have been, they
and I
just
feel
immediately attached themselves.
I feel like it's interesting because I can't remember if you're the one who said it or if how it came up, but the idea that I think you were like maybe the mom had connections with the hand.
Oh yeah. I like
that there might be a chance that like because she was locked in her own room and there were scratches. Marks, like bloody scratch marks,
which is why I think that maybe she came into contact with it. Like maybe she had a life that her daughter and her husband weren't aware of. Like, why was her husband on the couch?
True. Why was he on the couch?
Why was he on the couch? Why was she in the room by herself? Like, how did she come in contact with the hand? That
why does Mia have the relationship she does with her dad?
With her dad,
he seems like he's just like
doesn't exist. Yeah, like maybe the family was actually really not that close, even though Mia had videos with her mom.
Well, she may have been close with her mom, but not with her father.
Yeah. So, but wouldn't Mia like have known about the hand if that were the case? Like, I don't know.
Not necessarily. If it's the same situation,
or was it all just a ploy? And it was like whatever went into Mia's mind saw her relationship with her mom
and warped
that made her vulnerable and like warped itself.
Because I don't think that. I think maybe for the. My theory is that I don't know if that was even her mom to begin with.
Right.
That it might have just been the creature plying, like you were saying.
But then why would there be scratches on the door?
And that's the
only thing that's getting me.
Because then it's also, is it that if you come in contact with the hand and you die due to the spirits that are attached to the hand, do you then become attached to the hand when you die?
Right.
Like they'll keep you. The sentiment of they'll keep you.
Yeah.
So is it not that they'll keep you, it's that the hand keeps you and they just say they will keep you because they've all been trapped in the hand as well. Like all of the spirits that the different kids are being possessed with are all just other victims of the hand.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot. There's so many things.
So kind of talking about some of the inspirations for the film, they actually said that The Exorcist is an inspiration.
I mean, yeah,
and you can see that, especially even in the way that the face is. The way
the way their face changes when they get possessed, like the darkening of their lips or their eyes
and the cheekbones or whatever. They also loved Bong Joon-ho and the way I guess they jumbled a whole load of different tones, so like they would jump from horror to comedy to drama in a couple of seconds, and they loved that kind of difference in that. I don't
know. I felt like I was being thrown in a tornado.
Honestly, and I think that's intentional.
I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the best thing because I couldn't tell what kind of movie I was watching.
Yeah, and I guess they also were inspired and friends with Sam Raimi, which is amazing, and they were all kind of working together with that. But apparently, like, because they'd worked in horror before, Michael had worked his actual first paid job working on The Babadook. Yeah, and it influenced them in their directing style. Specifically, the director Jennifer Kent because she cared about every single frame. She wouldn't settle for anything less than perfect, and that she was making art. It wasn't just like, oh, we're on a payroll, we're just trying to get stuff done. She actually cared about what was going on. Yeah, the theories for this film are pretty fascinating, just with that whole end scene. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
is there a possibility that she could have ended it at that could she have warned them? Because just like how the quote quote mom reached through, even though it had been 2 years, I think the longer your soul sits out in the world, the more dangerous it might become.
Yeah.
But maybe because she's
Do you think her soul's gonna get warped as like
oh,
time goes on?
100%. Also, the question is how long from that end scene moment
Did it take
When-
for her to? Because it seemed like Riley was all better and like the dad was all better
Yeah.
and they were all going home.
Time
Or did it actually
like how
happen?
long did it take?
Or did it even happen?
I think it happened. I think it's just that she fell into the same fate as the boy from the film, from the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think she fell into the same thing as Duckett, where she felt like she'd been convinced, I have to kill this other person in order to save them.
Right, but instead...
And then you almost make a semi-conscious I feel like she made a conscious decision to
Oh, she absolutely
minor
did.
spoiler moment for a couple seconds. Skip forward if you want to, but I definitely feel like she intentionally made that final choice to throw herself into the road instead of throwing Riley, purely based on the sentence of that they will keep him forever.
And she'd seen what they were
And
doing
she
to him.
decided to sacrifice herself, but only in turn ended up trapping herself within the hand.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't my favorite.
But it wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't terrible.
It was a good film.
Yeah.
It's just maybe
I don't know
you
if
wanted more story, more premise.
I wanted more, and some things didn't really connect the way that I wish they had.
Well, maybe a
Like,
future
I thought
film
the
would work out.
kangaroo was pretty stupid and pointless.
I think it has to do
That was pointless to
so
me.
actually it leads into a little bit of stuff, but
To me, it was just, oh, they're in Australia. They've had to throw a kangaroo in there.
actually it does have a little bit of precedent. Only because throughout the film, you actually see Mia's empathy wax. Like, it starts to go away as the film progresses. Her empathy.
But it seemed like she had none just straight off the bat.
Well,
she
yeah,
just let
because
the
that's how
animal
she
go.
feels in herself.
Eh.
She's not willing to kill it because she knows what death feels like to herself, but she also knows what suffering feels like. So which is worse, death or suffering? Because, you know, when you experience both,
Okay, I guess I see how it's tied, because then it's all
which
about
would you
Riley.
pick? Yeah, and it's also the option. She decided not to kill it. Instead, she decided to leave.
She just left. She didn't make a decision. So in the end, she made a decision. That's why the kangaroo was all, haha, what you
Yeah.
gonna do?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
get it.
It's a form of like semi-foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's an interesting film. It's an interesting concept because they wrote so much information about just the lore and everything about the story. There's definitely room for,
Yeah. Apparently, they already have another movie lined up.
Yeah.
Script is written. It's just about casting now.
and I feel like that's definitely like they're gonna grow that.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be more story to that.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll definitely be
I think that's what'll give
Interesting.
me more.
context.
Yeah. Which is what I need, because I'm still confused, and that's what I think is throwing me
It's
off.
like plot holes. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, Joss got it from Duckett. That's all we have.
Yeah.
Where'd Duckett get it from?
Right.
Maybe they'll go on like okay,
How did
where
it
the
get
fuck
to
did
Mia's
this-
mom?
And in that end scene, where the fuck was that?
I think that's where the other hand is.
So,
That's for sure.
you
I
know,
think.
it's definitely interesting. So this is our 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. One is obviously because there's like a 94% rating. One was, I don't know what Rotten Tomatoes was thinking.
Personal choice.
Right. I mean,
Like,
I don't really either. I'm going to be honest. 94? That seems a bit high for this movie, especially with so many plot holes.
I guess it honestly depends on the person. Because for me, I had like a pit in my stomach because of my spiritual connection to the world.
This one I kind of agree with. Teenagers can be dumb and immature, but not like this.
I will agree with that one.
Like that is great. That's another level. And
That's dangerous AF.
Freshly out of teenage years. I'm only 20.
I would have never gone into that
I
shit.
would have never done that.
No.
No.
Not even if I was like wanting to be involved in
And I'd
shit.
especially never let a younger person participate.
Not even in the slightest.
That is
no way.
some
Not
of
even.
the stupidest things I've ever heard.
That's why we say that that's why it was said that throughout the film her empathy was waning because now she wasn't.
Yeah. I
Just
don't know
wanted to
why
see
they
what
thought
happened.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
This one's just like, okay, true. Every time I give A24 a chance, it's always a fail. The people behind A24 are basically into occult worship. I mean, they are, but like,
They're not bad films.
no, I don't
They don't
think
make
it's a
bad
fail.
films.
It's not. Yeah,
Not every filming company is going to make perfect films.
no, but I don't think.
And
that,
if they have future lore to work off of, then, you know,
and
we'll
clearly,
just
if
get more
they're a big
films.
company and making many films, there's something to be said about it.
Exactly.
Anyway, every single character is unlikable.
That's-
Valid. I'm
What?
gonna say that's very.
You didn't
valid.
like any of them?
No, I didn't. Except Riley a little bit until he said the dick thing to his sister, and then I was thrown off.
You know,
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think any of them were good people.
I don't feel not okay. There's a
This
difference
is why
between
it was
good
hard
people
to really
versus.
feel empathy for them.
I think there's a big difference between whether or not they were good people and whether or not
They were being.
you felt like you could connect to them. Because there's a difference. Because they don't have to be good people. You have to. It's whether or not you can connect to them.
No, and I couldn't. I just couldn't.
And for
I
you-
thought they were all being stupid. I thought that.
You were like, it's the exact opposite of Black Phone. They were doing every fucking thing that was wrong.
Yes.
Instead of being realistic. The only person, you want to know what? The only person I could connect with is Jade. Because she's
Yeah.
the only one who fucking didn't touch a
Yep.
thing and just
Yep.
watched and spectated.
Even Sue, like.
Sue was so fucking.
She's hilarious.
She's too much. She was
on her shit.
always pissed.
That as well. Honestly, that also irritated
She
me.
raged at her son for fucking doing his homework on the dining room table.
Like,
Are you shitting
why?
me?
He's literally. That also confused me. I was like, why is she yelling
Pissed
at him
for
no
doing
reason?
homework.
There's literally no reason for her to be yelling at him. That threw me off as well. There were so many little things that just kind of threw me off, and I don't know why. I don't know why.
It's wild.
The only time Sue was likable to me was when she was getting on Jade about like the party, because that was so funny that she just knew.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got.
All right. Well, our next film is going to be The Last Voyage of the Demeter, so that'll be interesting. A continuation and an expansion of our Dracula. Follow us at Instagram and Twitter at Horror Unmasked. Listen to us on Spotify and iTunes at Horror Unmasked Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Horror Unmasked Podcast. You know, shoot us an email, give us a good review. And I think with that,
There's only one thing left to say. Will you fear?
or will you fear not?